Hi guys, Rachel here with the Cackling Moon. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite decks, the Psychic Tarot. If you guys know me, if you've been watching me all of these years, you know the Psychic Tarot is one of my go-tos. It is one of my absolute favorite decks, and I recently, as you can see, bought a new copy of it because the one that I originally had, that I probably have had for about 7 of my 8 years doing tarot readings and whatnot, it's falling apart. So I would like to talk about the deck itself and also do a very quick comparison of the two decks, because there are some slight changes, and probably beware. This is just a beware warning. After watching this video, some of you will probably have this in your cart to purchase. So just a fair warning here. But other than that, if you guys are curious to talk or to hear about me talk about the Psychic Tarot, please keep watching. Okay, you guys, so the Psychic Tarot came into my possession, I would say probably after the first year of me really getting into tarot. I'll look into my history. I can't because I'm filming from my phone, but I will actually look into the history of my orders on Amazon, because I ordered it on Amazon, just to see the exact time of when I purchased this deck. But I want to say it was 2013. This was one of the first Oracle decks that came into my collection, and this one, I call it an Oracle deck regardless of its name. It is, it's called the Psychic Tarot, but it says the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. And I always think that that's kind of funny because it's kind of a blend of the two. It's a hybrid. So I've always called this the hybrid deck. And anytime I recommend it to people, it's usually because, one, people can't stand the court cards. So if you are somebody that cannot stand the court cards, but you still want to work with like a tarot-ish deck, then this is a really good option for you guys. Another thing is it reads very well like an oracle. So if you are more savvy to the oracle decks, or you like to work with your intuition and utilize your intuition versus feeling pressure to know the tarot meanings, then this is a really good deck to use as well. The other one is this deck has chakra cards. So when I first bought this, one of the main things that grabbed my attention was the fact that it has chakra cards. I love chakras. I love to work with the chakras. I love to incorporate chakra energy in my readings. And when I saw a deck that had the cards, this was like one of the first decks that I spotted that had that. And that was pretty much the reason why I bought the deck. So the Psychic Tarot, there's also a sister deck of the Psychic Tarot, and let me go ahead and grab it so I can show you guys. Hang on one second. So the sister deck to this is the Psychic Tarot for the Heart. Both decks are created by John Holland, who is a medium. So a lot of his decks that he creates they're meant to help you with your intuition and your mediumship. So that's why I really love these decks. Psychic Tarot for the Heart kind of focuses more so on self-love and the way that you love others. So it's kind of like relationships, romance, but it's also love for self. So this is kind of my go-to deck when I am working with love-based readings, or if I'm doing a self-love kind of reading. Now, I'm not going to go into this deck too much, but this is actually my second copy. I had a first copy, and I'm so sad because I did rehome it. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I did. But the very first copy that I owned was actually super thick cardstock. And then this is one of the newer ones. I bought this one. I think this one was like last year I picked this one up. And the cardstock on this deck is very thin. And it also has gold gilding on the side. So I was kind of surprised because my original copy had no gilding and it was thicker, like much thicker cardstock. So really pretty deck. And Oh my God, I'm obsessed with these, my all-time favorites. So anyways, I'll do another video with my Psychic Tarot for the heart. Excuse me. So the Psychic Tarot comes in a really sturdy box, just like this. Freaking love the World card on the front. I'm really happy to have a new copy because I actually threw out my original box when I bought this deck because I keep the deck in a bag. I went through this weird phase, thank God it didn't last long, but I went through this weird phase of throwing away a lot of my boxes, like the sturdy boxes, and it was mainly because I didn't have enough space in my apartment for all of my decks, and it was just like I was trying to make space because my collection was growing, and then I forever regretted that. So really happy to have a new copy. So the Psychic Tarot comes with a really hefty guidebook, has some tarot spreads and stuff that you guys can work with. But what I wanted to talk about is the way that this deck is created, like the way it is the system of it. So you have the major arcana cards, just like any tarot deck. You have the major arcana, and it goes through 0 through 21. So the deck has major arcana cards 0 through 21, and then it is made up of minor arcana cards. So the minor arcana goes through from numbers 1. It doesn't have an ace, it's a 1, from 1 through 9. So it doesn't have number 10. Okay. Normally in the tarot deck, you have an ace, and then it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're already losing one card, I believe, right? No. Are you? Oh my God, my math is like fucking bad. Let's just fucking do this because I don't want to look like, I already look like a dummy. Yeah, we have 9 cards. It's missing 1. Okay. See, you guys, this is why I don't teach how to, take apart a deck. Anyways, so that's the minor arcana. So you're missing 1 card with that. It doesn't have the ace. It's just the number 1, or it's missing the 10 cards, so to speak. Okay. The other thing is there are no court cards. So like I was saying earlier, if you are just a person that you just can't stand the court cards, it's just not your thing, or you prefer an oracle reading system, this is a really good deck to use. The other thing that it has is the chakra cards. So at the back of the deck, which I'll go into it closer. There's the 7 the 7 chakra cards at the bottom. Now the minor arcana, let's jump back over to the minors. The minor arcanas they're separated by colors. Okay. So when I do a closer view of this deck, you're going to see the major arcanas have black borders on them. Then you have the minor arcanas, which have reds, greens, blues, and purple. Okay. So each of those colors is supposed to represent the suit in the tarot. So I always forget because I technically don't read this like a tarot deck. I read it like oracle. But for the sake of the video, so the red ones are physical. Red borders are physical. The green borders, this is where it fucking trips me up. Greens are emotions. I don't like that because I see emotions as blue. So I think that's why I never really followed the system of this deck because of that reason. So greens are emotions. The indigo borders are mental, so your mind, or AKA the sword suit, which is, I guess this is supposed to be indigo, but to me it looks blue. And then you have spirit, or the violet border, so spirit. So you have physical, you have emotional, mental, and spirit. So it's different. It is a little bit different. And if you're not, if you're like fully invested in the tarot and you're set in your ways, this may be a little bit problematic. So that's why, I think that's why I opted to using this deck more in a oracle system as opposed to tarot. Because that just would just confuse the hell out of me. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, I guess I'll just kind of keep the video like this because it's just going to be easier for me. Oh my gosh, let me get my cards that I dropped. They're like all over the place. I dropped my chakra cards. 1, 2, oh, I'm missing Okay. What a mess. I always try to be perfect in the videos and it never happens. Okay. So one thing, and please excuse my nasty nails. I don't have any polish on them right now, temporarily. So this is my original copy, my well-loved copy. This is the new one, okay? One of the first things that I noticed about this deck is my original copy used to have gold gilding edges. You really can't see because I have used this deck so well, like it is well loved, that gold edging has pretty much flaked away except for like the corner parts right there. So it used to have the gold gilding, which is funny because the new version of the Psychic Tarot has it, but the old version didn't. So it was kind of like opposites. So this new one does not. The new copy, this is the one I picked up a couple days ago at Barnes & Noble, does not have the gilded edges, okay? So I don't know, that might be a deal breaker for some people. I personally don't care. As you can see, when you use up your deck, like when you really shuffle and I mean, I shuffle my decks like crazy, but when you are using your deck with lots of love all the time, that beautiful gilding goes away. Like it falls apart, it flakes off, it doesn't stay. So I could care less about the gilding. The other thing is the size of the cards. So the size of the deck, the new one is actually a little bit smaller. So let me show you. So, oh my goodness. It is like just a sliver smaller. I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to tell. No, you're probably not going to be able to tell. But there's just like, see how there's just like just a tiny bit left? It's a smidgen smaller than my original copy. The other difference is the new copy is darker than the original. So the original's in my right hand. The new copy, it's a little bit darker. I don't know if you could tell on the camera, if you could tell on the camera, but it's a little bit darker, and you could definitely tell, let me see, in some of the cards. So like, as you can see, he's more light. The purple's a little bit lighter. These are much more darker. So that's a big, big, big difference with the cards when you're looking at them side by side. Now, just so you know, disclaimer, I was bored one night and I pretty much like put glitter on accents of my cards. So if you notice that, that's what that is. But yeah, so the new version is much darker than the older version, which, you know, it doesn't really look that bad, to be honest. It's really not that bad. But let me see. So the Authority card, the old one is this one. This is the new one. So you see, it's not too bad, but you could really see the difference in his cape, how much more vibrant the older one is, and the darker one is just a little bit darker. The newer one is a little bit darker. So you could see like subtle differences. I think I prefer the way the older one looks, I'll be honest. Because I don't know, I like the vibrancy of it, but it's not that bad. Let's see, another card. Let's do 3. Yeah, you could tell the borders on this one. So this is my older, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. This is the older one. As you could see, the green on the green borders. Check out the new one. Look at that difference. See, that's a good example right there. The new ones are much darker than the older ones. So that's a perfect example with the greens. So like I said, I think the lighter ones look much better. That's just me. But I'm really glad to have a new copy of this because this deck is like well loved. Let's look at the blues. Oh, I love this card. Mental conflict. Oh, yeah. So this is the old one and the new one. Look at that. Even the blues are kind of like a different color too. You see? And the face, I mean, he just looks much more darker, right? So definitely more vibrant with the older cards. And then I wanted to show you guys the chakra cards because I even noticed a difference with those. Or actually, let's show you one more of the minor. Let's do foundation. So this is the old one. And then there's the new one. Yeah, it's definitely darker border. The image itself, it just looks darker to me. And let's show the third eye. Third eye chakra. Oh, wow. Okay, I'll show both of these ones. Okay, this is the new one. I mean, no, this is the old one, and this is the new one. Look at the difference. Like, this one looks more purple. This is definitely more indigo. So, big, big, big difference right there with the third eye. The crown is also really, really different too. This is the old one. I keep getting it mixed up. This is my old copy. Here's the new copy of the crown chakra. It looks even more purple. See that? So that's what I like to do when I buy decks that are repeats. I really I nerd out over the differences. Like, normally I could care less, but oh my gosh, let me show you the green, the heart chakra. Normally I could care less, but I just feel like, I don't know, it's just fun. Like, this is one of my favorite decks, so I just think it's fun to kind of show you guys the difference. Look at this. This is my older copy. This is the new copy. So very much a difference there. Now, if you've never owned this deck before, obviously you're not going to know the differences. But when I was opening up the new one, I know these cards so well that I was like, wait a minute, something doesn't look right. Like, something looks so off. Same thing with the yellows. Here's my older copy, and here's the new one. This doesn't even look yellow to me. Like, this looks so nasty. So yeah, but when I was opening up the new copy, I was like, oh, something's off. Something doesn't make sense. And I couldn't figure out if it was the photos, but when I put them side by side, I was like, no, it's the colors. The colors are off. So yeah, I definitely noticed it, but they're still pretty. They're really pretty cards, and they're still and will always be one of my favorites. So I love the Psychic Tarot. It is definitely a deck that I recommend to people when they come to me asking, you know, that if they're transitioning from an Oracle to a Tarot deck. Usually I'll recommend this one because it's a hybrid. Or if somebody is like sick and tired of the Tarot and they want to try something new, I always recommend the Psychic Tarot because again, it's a hybrid deck. It's a mix of the two. And the reason why I say hybrid is this is, for example, this is the Fool card, okay? And it's the Fool, it's number 0, right? It's the black borders, it's a major arcana. But the bottom of each card will give you a phrase. And so this one says new beginnings. And so when you see that, it's like you don't even have to know that it's a Fool to see that the meaning of it, new beginnings or fresh new start or whatever. So that's why I really like this deck, because I read it as Oracle. I really just pay attention to the phrases and then just what I feel, the vibe I feel off of the cards. But very rarely will I like say, oh, this is, you know, the Magician card number 1. Like, very rarely will I do that when I use this deck. I'm kind of like in intuitive Oracle reading mode when I use it. So so it's really easy to kind of put away your strict learning like what you learn, and I say strict because I feel like tarot is, the system of tarot can be kind of strict, okay? So when you're trying to like break free from that and you want to have a little bit of fun or a little bit of a free flow with your tarot cards, this deck is really good for that because it's such a hybrid. It's just different. So yeah, this is my favorite, and I'm happy to have a new copy of it. I'm happy to have a box finally. So I'm definitely never going to be rehoming or getting rid of my tried and true. Like I mean, I know that whoever, I don't even remember who I gave it to, but I know whoever has it, I'm sure, or at least I hope that they're giving it love. But this will always be like one of my ultimate favorites. Like people often ask me, you know, they'll always tell me, instead of the Rider-Waite, like what is your favorite tarot deck or what is your favorite deck? And I'm always like, well, if it's not Rider-Waite, then it's definitely the Psychic Tarot. The Psychic Tarot and the Bohemian Gothic. Those are my top 3. So yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and sorry if it was a little bit clumsy there for a minute. I thought I wanted to do an up close and personal, like side by side, but really the artwork is the same. Like every single card is exactly the same. The only differences are the cardstock. Even the cardstock in the older version is, I feel like it's a little bit thinner, but this one's not that it's not that thick either. So the cardstock's pretty much the same. They're both still pretty much like semi-glossy, you know, but pretty much other than that, it's just the size of the card. The new one is a little bit smaller and darker. So other than that, it's like the same artwork and whatnot. So I'm happy. I'm content. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that, and I wanted to have a video to put out, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful week, and I will talk to you soon in my next video. Bye guys.